several years, Los Angeles will be host to the World Cup, and then the Super Bowl, and then the Olympics. With this rebuilding effort needing to take place, is LA going to be ready for all of those global events?
My humble position, and it's not just being naively optimistic, that only reinforces the imperative moving quickly, doing it in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, to his credit, was helpful in getting the Olympics to the United States of America, to get it down here in LA. We thank him for that. This is an opportunity for him to shine, for this country to shine, for California and this community to shine. The opportunity with all of that and all that opportunity and that pride and spirit that comes from not just hosting those three iconic games and venues, but also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team of looking at reimagining LA 2.0, and we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here that were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan? Tell us about this Marshall Plan.
We're just starting to lay out. I mean, we're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders. We're starting to organize how we can put together a collection of individuals on philanthropy for recovery, how we can organize the region, how we can make sure that we are seeking federal assistance for the Olympics more broadly, but also federal assistance for the recovery efforts, and how we can galvanize the community with folks that love this community to really develop a mindset so that at scale we're dealing with the scope of this tragedy and responding to it at scale with efficiency, like the executive order I talked about, time value of delivering projects, addressing building codes, addressing permitting issues, and moving forward to rebuilding and being more.
I noticed something a bit strange about these LA fires everyone's been tagging me at. The first weird thing that I noticed is that insurance companies dropped fire coverage 3 months before the fires started, and many people have reported electrical wires from the power grid causing these fires. And of course, the water supply has been cut off. And don't you think it's a bit weird in this picture that all of the trees stay standing but the houses aren't? Of course, this is for educational purposes only, and I'm not claiming anything. And then we go to Google and type in 2028 Smart LA City. What a coincidence they want to build a smart city in LA. And of course, it's a lot easier to build a whole city if there's no buildings there. Of course, this is just for educational purposes only, and I hope everyone is safe over there. Thank you.
Noticed how the LA fires always seem to hit specific areas? Here's a wild theory. Some people believe it's not just nature at work. What if certain locations are being cleared for new high-tech developments or secret projects? Think about it. Prime real estate suddenly becomes cheaper after a fire. Some even claim satellite technology could be used to start pinpointed fires. Could this be a modern land grab disguised as a natural disaster? Coincidence? Or something more? Comment and follow me for more conspirations.
I talked to a fireman once. This is one of the reasons that freaked me out. And he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and the fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing.
Due to current events, I figured now would be a great time to tell you guys all about Smart LA 2028. Smart LA 2028 was a plan released in 2019 to redefine and restructure Los Angeles in time for the 2028 Olympics. Smart LA 2028 has many key points, one primarily being the transportation infrastructure to go for a car-free Olympics. Don't just take it from me, however, take it from Ted Ross, the Chief Information Officer of LA.
As a 3-time United States Digital City Award winner, the City of Los Angeles has been investing in the infrastructure, the apps, and the data tools to be a globally recognized smart city. But as technology evolves, so our smart city must evolve too. That's why we have developed our Los Angeles Smart City Strategy, known as Smart LA 2028. Check it out here.
Key points that they're looking to improve are infrastructure and community engagement, which may be hard since there's no community anymore. Some constraints on this project are funding and budget constraints because infrastructure is very important and very expensive. And piggybacking off that, another hurdle is the aging infrastructure. Much of LA's infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and utility grids, were built decades ago and requires significant upgrades or replacement. They're going to have to replace a lot now. With that comes retrofitting challenges. Adapting existing systems to modern standards is often more complicated and costly than building a new infrastructure. How about that? It would be cheaper for them to just build new infrastructure instead of repair and fix the old. Traffic congestion. A lot of people living in LA means a lot of traffic. I guess it's kind of weird that a lot of people won't be living in LA now. Environmental concerns, because a lot of residents mean high carbon emissions from cars and high water usage, which we know LA is already struggling with the water usage because the firefighters said that there's no water to put out the fires right now. The hydrants are running dry. And as we know, wildfires are a big environmental concern. Regulatory and bureaucratic hurdles are a big concern as well because, it's going to be hard getting things approved when there's so many people living and working in LA. And stakeholder coordination. But I guess it's really not going to be that hard to convince people to fix a city that no longer exists. You're just building from the ground up, right? It's hard to get equity and public support because of gentrification concerns. Infrastructure improvements can lead to displacement in lower income communities, creating opposition to certain projects. But I guess there's not going to be much opposition now. And the digital divide. Technological integration, because integrating smart sensors to existing infrastructure is very complex. But again, I guess there's now not much infrastructure to have to work with. And public transit challenges, because with everybody living in LA, converting everybody to public transit was an uphill battle. And project timelines were under constraints because so many people live and work in LA. I guess it's lived and worked in LA. Now that you mention it, I'm actually pretty sure that Lahaina was going through the same thing and faced the same issues, right? What a coincidence.
Basically, this is going to be the biggest land grab in California history. It's so overcrowded in Los Angeles that for the last few years, they've been putting homeless people on buses and shipping them out hours away to surrounding counties. It's still not enough. All the new major tech, entertainment, and social media companies want their headquarters in Los Angeles around all the content creators, all the entertainers, celebrities, where everything is trendy. If you think these people who are homeless, losing their homes and businesses, is about to go back to that land and just rebuild and start their lives over, you're tripping. You don't know how it works. These insurance companies that are dropping them, they're successful because they do the same thing all big businesses do. That's one major company own multiple companies that own companies that own companies. So if they ever mess a bunch of people over or get into trouble, you only can sue that one company, not the major company. They'll just file for bankruptcy and you won't affect the CEO's money or none of that. But back on track to this land grab. They're going to start offering people checks, reminding them that they can just go get a new house, new car, and new furniture instead of waiting 5 to 7 years to go to court with these insurance companies to try to get them to pay you out for dropping you during hard times in a natural disaster. You think they're not going to take that check? Don't be silly. This is a land grab, and it's just happening right here in front of our eyes. I'll be the first to tell you this.
So does anyone else think it's weird that, the fires are completely surrounding the valley? That's where we are. But, we're completely surrounded by fires. If these did spread bigger, how would we get out? Where would we go? We are not being told to evacuate as of yet, but it's should we go? It's also just a weird coincidence that, the entire valley is surrounded. It's kind of bugging me.
In the newsroom here have put together this incredible animation that shows the timeline of how this fire advanced through the communities of Pacific Palisades and Malibu. Here it is, January 7th at 6:17. It was at 2,900 acres. And then on January 8th, that explosion to 15,000 acres. And then the next day, 17,000 acres as it progressed into the mountains. And then on the 9th, 19,000 acres. And you can see how far it had gotten into Malibu. And then we come to yesterday at 20,000 acres. And you can see 20 and then to 21,000 acres. But you see how far across it spread. and all the way up to the 11th, which is today at 22,660 acres. This is just information from 7:30 a.m.
With a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.